Hey everybody, welcome to Rion Love, where we passionately debate, explore, and review topics of religion, history, science, and current events. First of all, happy Pride Month.
Happy
Second
Pride.
of all, today I'm joined by the awesome Ryan Coltastic.
Hello, happy to be here. Good to
Hello.
see you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have you finally in the same space.
Me too. I've been wanting to hang out and chat. This is awesome opportunity.
I know I was, usually I have my husband on here, but he had to work late. So I was like, you know what? That actually is perfect because we're going to talk about the patriarchy. And I think it's better if it's just women's space for tonight.
Yeah, go. You go ahead. Go ahead. Bye bye. Love you. Bye
Right.
bye.
Yeah. So before we start, I'm going to remind everybody in the chat that this is a safe space for LGBTQ people and women. And I demand that you show that respect, or else there may be damage.
That's right.
So, I mean, you have to. You have to.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
that's the line in the sand for me.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's where we gotta draw the line sometimes.
Hmm.
And for today's episode, we're going to be kind of unfiltered. Like just some women coming together, trying to dismantle this patriarchy and challenging religious oppression,
Yeah.
especially because I think a lot of the misogyny does come from religious oppression, right?
At this
So,
point, I think it's a huge proponent of it. Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I think the best way to fight against it is to expose it. The more people hear about it, the more they start questioning it.
Right.
And so, yeah, even if sometimes I might fight back a little bit at first. Like when you try to argue with a theist, they might be like, "Oh my God," and just come up with a bunch of Bible quotes. Uh, but I think eventually they have to see the many contradictions that there are in the Bible and the harm that it does, especially to women, right? That is
Oh my
really,
gosh.
really, yeah. But
They hate us.
before we get into that, let me ask you real quick,
Sure.
and before we forget, like, where can people find you? Because I know we were just talking about this before the show. Like sometimes we don't realize that people commenting on our chat are actually content creators. And
Yeah.
I had
Happens
seen
all the
your
time.
name quite a few times before, and I didn't connect that you were a content creator until I saw you on somebody else's channel, like on the screen, and I was like, wait, I know that name.
Hmm.
And so I went and checked because my brain doesn't always still think that the people that are commenting have their own channel. It's just like, oh, it's just somebody
Yeah.
talking. It's just
You
like,
just don't you don't I don't know why on YouTube I just don't think about it that way, and it's because the forum is really screwed up. It's not a great app, like, come on, let's be honest. Um, so that's probably feeds into it. They could do something to change that so they know we're, a content creator, but yes, you can find me right here, Ryan Tastic. I make content on YouTube about like deconstruction, disarming the patriarchy, all that kind of fun stuff.
that's cool. I should have copied your link earlier. I'm gonna do that real quick because we don't have the lovely pragmatic crystal on tonight. She's
Right?
always on top of all the links, right? Okay, so I just sent it.
She's always on top of it. She's
I
she's
know.
she's right there with it. Before you even ask, she's like, "Got you."
I told her when I first started my live shows, I was like, well, if I ever need a moderator, you're gonna be the first one. And so when more people started showing up, I was like, all right, you're on it. So, oh,
You're it.
Fern is here. Of course, love Fern. Fern was my very first open follower.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Oh,
we
so cool.
connected. Yeah, there was like, I always type a comment, like even if it was just like a little wave or something, just for the algorithm. So they're very, very supportive. Love it.
It helps, right? Every comment, every like, it all shows the algorithm that people want to see your content.
right? And it's important stuff. Like you said,
Mhm.
you talk about deconstruction, and you talk about women's rights and stuff like that, and what it was like to grow up in a high control religion,
Yes.
right? So I think it was like just very recently saw that you well, obviously it is on your channel, but like you you've mentioned that that you grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, right?
Yep.
Well, so what was that like growing up as a kid? Like you were born into it basically, right?
I wasn't born into it, but technically I am third generation because my grandparents were also Jehovah's Witnesses as well. But my parents didn't get serious about it until like well, started a Bible study, I would say, until I was around 5, 6 years old. And then I believe somewhere around the age of 10 is when they got baptized themselves. So that's when
Wow.
that's when they really dedicated themselves to the religion. So that's when I mean things started to change at 5, but by the time I was 10 and 12, like I started to notice how I was different from other kids, if you know what I mean.
Tell me like a little bit more because I feel like we talk a lot about Christianity and you know that there are 45,000 denominations and
So many.
there is so many of them. It's kind of hard to keep up. I would say when somebody you know says Jehovah's Witnesses, you're thinking of like, oh, you know, like they don't let them take blood transfusions or like they come and knock on your door or stuff like that. That's how a lot of people mostly just relate it.
Right.
What is it like? How is it different than like mainstream Christianity?
So one of the biggest difference from mainstream Christianity is how they basically follow the bite model, which I'm sure everybody is familiar with, but it's like the easiest way to explain it. That your information is controlled, your day-to-day activities, your life is controlled. They find ways to occupy your time. Like if you're not at work or you're not at school, you know, you have to go out in field service or you're going to, you know, the Kingdom Hall to sit there for a couple hours or maybe cleaning the Kingdom Hall, things of that nature. So they will find things for you to do. And even like the elders or ministerial servants who are they're kind of like the elite in the congregation. They're like the leaders, if you will, in the hierarchy chain, and they're kind of tethered to the congregation. Like if somebody needs you, it's almost like you're on call 24/7, if you will. Like you yeah, like my dad had a truck, and I don't know how many times like people needed him just for like just for his truck. But
Wow.
he he for whatever reason, that to him, he kind of wanted that. Like that was like an honor for him. He had a truck and he was needed, if you know what I will. So there's not many ways to find power in the hierarchy. So that was kind of like a little piece of the
Yeah, like he
pie for
felt like
him.
he was being like like he was needed. So in a
Exactly.
way that gave him sort
Exactly.
of like respect maybe.
Yeah. And I'm not saying he wasn't needed. I'm just saying that that was,
Oh yeah.
I'm sure, part of his intention. So everyone kind of fulfills a role. And you know, as a kid, oh sorry, hair. As a kid, you know, your life should be just going to school, making friends, learning how to be a damn awkward kid, making
Mhm.
mistakes. And instead, you're just filled with all this information about this invisible being, you know, that's judging you, that tells you you're evil from birth. It's literally out of the mouth of the leaders of the organizations that children are born evil sinners and enemies of God, if you will,
Yeah.
which makes it easier for a child, in my opinion, to be abused and to be groomed to accept abuse because you feel like you're guilty and not worthy. And then you take responsibility if anything happens to you, you know, oftentimes, even when it's not your fault. So it's really repressive as a kid. And I don't think well, obviously, the parents don't get that. They might think they're strict. They don't realize just how much damage they're doing to their child's self-worth, you know, because you're not really
Yeah.
supposed to be proudful pride, excuse me. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, hey, speaking of like Pride Month, like that's not something that you really should have. they
Oh
they
yeah.
always quote the scripture about being, you should not be puffed up with pride. So things like sports, they don't want you to participate in sports because not only it's really about spending time away from the congregation and not spending time going out in field service at the Kingdom Hall, but when they would say things like, oh well, when you compete, it makes you, big headed, and you think too much of yourself, and all you care about is winning, and
Yeah, because
you
you're trying
lose.
to be first. Or yeah.
Exact instead of focusing on like the good things, like how you learn to communicate with people and work on a team and learn how to lose, because guess what, you do lose in life. Like that's just a part of life. Like that's a great like minicosm for a child to learn what it's like to fail at something, but you brush yourself off, and it's what life is, what you make of it, and you just try again, and you lose that ability. You don't have those kind of activities or coping mechanisms to like even hobbies. If that
Yeah.
hobby takes you away from doing, like they've even talked about video games, people play too much video game because your time should be spent reading the
Mhm.
Bible. It's never ending, and all I wanted to do was be a kid. Like I gotta, okay, clean my bathroom, clean my bedroom, do my lawn. Fine. That's whatever. Like, hey,
Yeah.
that's being a kid. Like you gotta learn how to adult at some point. But
Yeah, those are like real life
micromanaging.
useful lessons.
Yes, but all they're do like what they do is micromanage your life. You don't even have an opportunity to make a mistake because they don't trust you enough to give you space to do so. And then if you do the simplest, silliest mistake, maybe you watched a movie that was PG-13 and you were 12 years old. Oh, Jesus is gonna come back and kill you. Like, and now you're flooded with guilt over something like so minute. Like truly.
Yeah.
Like when
And
kids are being picked on at school and they don't like themselves and they hate how they're dressed, and you want to make them feel bad. Like, I mean, yeah, sure. Like, okay, hey, you don't do that no more. Like, here's your punishment. But the guilt is just never ending. Sorry.
yeah. No, no, no. It's completely understandable because when I growing up as a kid, my mom was an atheist, so I didn't have that. Like I came into
Ah,
religion when I was like a young adult, so it was a little
hmm,
bit different. But I can't imagine feeling that type of pressure as a kid. Like I felt
hmm,
it when I was an adult. It was like like the feeling like you have to comply with this, that you have to fit in, that you have to follow
right.
this because or believe this because everybody else was. And I can't imagine having to have that much pressure in my developmental years as a little
It's
kid.
too much. It's
Yeah.
unnecessary pressure, right? Again, like you already have pressure from your peers and you're learning things at school that might just be like a little too difficult or whatever. It's just not something that you should be worried about. Sure. If you want to take your kid to church, like sure, whatever. Fine. But spending 5 days a week there, come on, give me a break. That's excessive, that's obsessive and unnecessary.
Yeah. So was that like that for you? Like you were at church pretty much every day,
So
almost.
back so back in the day when I was a kid, we went I almost said school. So we went on Sundays. So Sundays was about an hour and 45 minutes ish. So if you include like the time before you get there because you're supposed to get there early, getting there on time or late is looked down upon. Like you don't care about Jehovah, you don't care about good association because you're not getting there to talk to people to have like the fake conversations with people. Um and then on Tuesdays we used to have what was called, what do we call it? Oh my God, it's just a Bible study. Sorry, I don't remember what they called it,
Okay.
but it was a Bible study, and this Bible study was only 1 hour long. But again, you include the time before and after, it's like a half hour. And then on Thursdays was the hour and a half ish meeting. And you have to remember Two, that there's prep time for these meetings. So there's material beforehand that you have to read. So you might spend another half hour. That's your choice. That's your decision. But like, if you don't answer at the meeting, like that shows that you really weren't into it, paying attention. Like you really should at least try to raise your hand to answer, because it's like, read a paragraph, ask a question, somebody in the audience raise their hand to answer. And then Saturdays, so how many days? Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, okay, so four days a week, 4 days a week. But there were the off times where you would go out an extra day, 2 extra days in field service throughout the week. And Saturday morning was usually the field day for field service. So that was another 2-ish, 3-ish, depending. Some families like go all out, but we probably average like 2 hours on Saturday morning. So instead of getting up and like watching cartoons, I'm getting up and preparing like what I'm going to say to some weirdo stranger at the door, answering it in their freaking underwear. You know what I'm saying? Like that happens. Or the dog's like going to fucking jump and grab at your neck. You know what I mean? It's just,
It's
should
weird
be at
because,
home.
like, you mostly hear people, oh yeah, they go to church on Sundays, but like to hear that it was just like a daily thing, that's just so excessive. But they make it really hard for people to get out of it. So
Yes,
quickly, there's somebody mentioned for you, Ryan. Are you
I am.
familiar with Apostle Babe Linda James?
I
I
am.
Okay, I saw one of her videos the other day. Yeah, the
Did you?
name, yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome. She is a former Jehovah's Witness. And yeah, she does do a live stream. Y'all should join. I'm just so tired by the end of the night. I have not been sleeping at night, so I'm having trouble like staying up too late. But she also left the
Oh,
JWs like, I think like when she was like teen or 20s or something like that.
okay, that's where I saw her.
Yes.
It was like the morning that Kelly was on. I think I saw her name, and I was like, oh wait, maybe she
Yeah.
does content. And so I looked. Yeah.
Yeah, she's I think she was there a couple times this week so far. Yeah,
Okay.
she's a sweetheart, and she feels like we do. You know, she's on that same wavelength. So
Love that.
good peeps follow her.
So let me ask you. We were just talking about like being what it was like for you as a kid. Did you ever feel like you are questioning what you're being taught, or did you feel guilty about it and you were just more like
Man.
fearful and
You know, I've always been an inquisitive person, kid. So I always had a lot of questions, and I didn't get a lot of answers. Or I got answers that I guess would suffice, but not really. And quite honestly, like asking too many questions, like depending how you're posturing with the question, like it could be seen as what's the word? Not disobeying. It almost seems like you are questioning. You're questioning, and that's not good. Like you lack faith, so you don't want to be seen.
like how dare you? Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes you don't even feel comfortable asking questions. Like I remember one time in a Bible study when I was older, and I forget what it was, but we read something and I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense because we just read this. It was just, I don't remember, just something offhand. I was like, but wait, I don't understand that because they said this and now they said this. And that was just like,
Yeah.
well, blah, 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 blah. And it just didn't go off well. Yeah. It just seems as like you're being indignant. Like you just want to be right because what you read is what they mean and you better follow it to the T.
Yeah, or they find a different way to like adjust it to like, no, you misunderstood that. This is what it means, and you have
Oh,
to,
I
like
made the perfect
interpretations.
meme. I made the perfect meme for that because Jehovah's Witnesses are like king of the scapegoat. They have this thing called new light. So whenever they roll out like a new policy, like God revealed some new information to them, they roll out the new light. And God told us, no, they don't say it like that, but basically they tell everybody now we're going to be doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever. So they go from saying you can't have any blood and now you can take some fractions of blood, but they roll out the new like carpet for that. And you just have to say, oh goodness, thank goodness, because now God showed us the way. So you can't be angry. You can't be angry about all the people that died, the millions of people of that have died, possibly not millions, but you know what I'm saying, thousands of people who have died from not taking a blood transfusion because of that new light. It's just a way for them to not have to accept responsibility for the terrible rules and policies that they have.
Yeah,
It's
you covered that really recently on one of your videos. There was
yeah.
a doctor, right, that
Oh my God.
refused to do a trans.
Y'all, that's dangerous. That is so dangerous. That is what could be happening here in the United States with the way they're writing these laws. They should be able to refuse service, refuse to touch, refuse to do anything they don't want to, even if it goes against the oath that they take.
Right, like when I think about it, like I think about like abortion rights, and I've seen I think there was an article that said that the Catholic Church, the Catholic hospitals
Yes.
allow their doctors to decide when they don't want to perform an abortion,
Yep.
but like they're not seeing it as medical care. Obviously,
Nope.
you can see that, and so it's
Yep.
like the same way it makes you think that do they think that blood transfusions are not medical care? That's like that's wild.
It is it is really wild, and it comes down to just really bad understanding of the Bible, really. But no, it is, yes, but actually it's intentional. Sorry. I'd like to let people know that I absolutely 100% in my heart of hearts know, not think, I know that these rules that they make are intentional. They want people to hurt, they want martyrs, they want people to use as pawns, to objectify, to turn into heroes for the cause. And I hope, I sincerely hope that what happened to the woman who died because the Jehovah's Witness doctor wouldn't give her a blood transfusion, refused to save her life after operating on her and delivering her child. So now she killed the mother of the child she just delivered. I hope that that changes people's minds to see like how sinister their beliefs can be. It's not just a knock on your door. Come on, knock on your door. Hey, here's paradise is waiting for you. Oh, sorry, where the kisses are hers. Anyway, Three's Company, if anybody knows that tune. But it's not, it's deeper and it's darker than that. It is really crafted intentional to make people live in this guilty, horrible circle, right? It's just the rinse and repeat over and over.
It really is, and it's not just the Jehovah's Witnesses. There's some other really extreme Christian sects.
Mm.
There was a horrible case. So I have type 1 diabetes, so I know what it's like
Oh,
to have high blood sugar, low blood sugar. It makes you feel like crap either way. But there were these cases of little kids, like I think one was 8 and the other one was around 10, and both of them were here in Texas, and their parents and their religious leaders, whatever congregation they went to, I can't remember the exact one, but they were telling the parents that the insulin was evil, that it was from the
what?
devil, and that they
Oh
should
no,
pray to Jesus and God for healing. And so even
that's
there was
horrible.
one where this religious leader came to their house and gave them like all these voodoo herbs and stuff to give the kid instead of the insulin, and they take away the insulin from the child. And these kids, I'm telling you, like when your blood sugar is high, you feel like shit, you feel heavy, you feel nauseous, you have a headache, your body might feel achy.
Mm.
So it's like, imagine like having like a really strong flu but we vomited and stuff for days. And that's
Oh,
what these kids went through for like several days of feeling that way until they just slip into a coma and they just pass away. Like both of
oh,
them died, unfortunately. And
that's
it's
so
like,
heartbreaking.
ah, man,
In the
like,
name of your God wants that. That's so weird.
and to think
That's
that
creepy.
how do these people reason that exactly? Like thinking, look, if I pray that my child survives this and they don't, like, what does that mean for, even for the parent who's like deeply indoctrinated into these horrible things?
Mm.
Like, do they feel like it's their own fault? Like,
I don't. Yeah,
ah,
you
man,
wonder. You wonder what the heck. Like,
like,
what kind
yeah.
of God would want you to, and what kind of, advertisement is that to other people?
Mhm.
Like, you're not going to win my heart over. You think I'm going to let my kid die and not give them the medicine they need? I would never. I would never be a follower of yours. That's so obvious.
Right, yeah, but I always remember like one of the things that got me out of religion. Well, the thing that got me into religion was when I was pregnant, and my kid was diagnosed with what they thought was going to be a condition that was not compatible with life. So we
Oh,
were thinking that the baby would die at birth, and I was kind of like a little bit. I felt a little bit pressured by like religious people around me to like go to church and like have them do like these hand over your head type of healing and stuff like
ah,
that.
oh, you're gonna get healed. Okay.
Yeah. So like, and then I was like, like kind of leaving it in God's hands and all of that type of stuff. And well, yeah, obviously when the baby was born and survived, then we were all like, oh, thank God.
Right.
And
Of course. Of course it's God.
because the doctors were kind of wrong, and the baby did have a heart condition, but like they're still alive and stuff like that.
Right.
So, but like fast forward like 10 years, and my kid was having open heart surgery, and I was at the hospital, like sitting by the bed, like holding their hand, like, what the fuck kind of God is allowing all of this? Because they had like
Yeah.
really painful recovery.
Oh,
So, but it's different when you're like a baby than when you're like 10 years old, right? And
oh,
so it was
yeah.
like very much aware and like of the pain, and like couldn't even
Oof.
speak. And I couldn't, I was like just like sitting there, like couldn't even talk because I was like, well, if I say something, you know, they're gonna have to reply. And like they just told me that talking is painful. And I was just
Right.
like with a lot on my mind, kind of like thinking about like all of this stuff, like no, like this prayers is, if there is a God, why is he allowing all of this to happen to a
It's
completely
cruel.
innocent child? And you
Yeah.
can't tell me that it's like, oh, the sins of your fathers, because why would somebody punish you for the sins of other people? Even if they're blood related to you, it shouldn't fucking matter, right?
Right. A child is
Like,
a child.
I would not punish my kid for
Never.
anything that anybody else did. So
No.
it's like, how is this father figure supposedly punishing all of us because we're so terrible because somebody else did something bad? And that
Right.
means that we are bad too. Like,
He's
we
just
are not even given a chance.
no, no. The way the story is told, no. We never had a chance with that. The way they wrote that story.
Why, like, women were screwed from the very first
Yeah.
chapter of the story. In Genesis, we were
Right? Like,
already the
damn,
bad
like, they
guys.
they made that right at the front of the book. I see what you did there, you bastards. Damn it.
Right? So, for in the Jehovah's Witnesses, how is that different from like other religions as far as like women's oppressions? Like, did you feel uh, extra
Hmm.
oppressed, like obligated
Hmm.
to like perform a certain way, like feminine or submissive?
Well, of I don't know, of course there could be some religions that are worse, but I think Jehovah's Witnesses are bad. They absolutely like oppress women. They subjugate women. They treat them like objects. They do not have autonomy. Like, you can't. You're not supposed to say no to your husband. I mean, they might even micromanage like what you can do in the bedroom and stuff. Like, it's so freaking creepy. The man is the head, so he has the final say, the authority. They like to use that saying that really just gets my goat, grinds my gears. that the man are the head, but the women are the neck that turns the head, or something like that. Like, ugh, give me a fucking break. Like, seriously. Like, what kind of a relationship is that where someone doesn't have autonomy for them? That's so weird. Like, that's not a relationship. That's not a partnership. That is someone being subordinate to somebody else. Point blank, period. I mean, that's how your children are to you, right? They're underneath you. They listen to you. That's the same damn thing, same damn principle. Ain't no damn way I'm an adult and you're not my boss. You know
But
what I mean?
yeah,
And even my
yeah,
boss better watch his
it's
back.
crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, the better,
I'm just saying.
the better do right, but yeah, for sure. It's like it's. I don't understand the way that women. I, well, I don't know if I would say that I don't understand it, but rather than like
Like
it
how they
blows
accept
my
it.
mind the way that a lot of women are under that type of oppression and
Yeah.
still agree with it. But I think at the same time I do understand it because
Ye-
we're so
Yeah.
brainwashed into it from the very
Yeah.
beginning. Like as a little girls, you're like trained pretty much that you have
Right.
to have these expectations met. Like you
Mm.
have to cook, be a good cook, and keep the house and
Yeah.
dress
Homemaker.
nice and
Hmm.
yeah, like only girls do this and only girls do that. Like
Yep.
like the boys get to go and hang out and just chill, or like
Ugh.
play outside or whatever, and the girls have to take care of the things inside. And it's like it's kind of like a brainwashing that we're or brain wiring
Mm.
becomes built that way
Wiring.
into
Yes.
adulthood. And so
Mm.
yeah, so like you go into adulthood with all of these connections already made that you think is the essence of how you should be.
Yeah, it just seems normal, and especially like in this situation, like when you're a Jehovah's Witness and everyone surrounding you is that way because you're not really out in public situations really with people unless it's like in a business situation at your job. It's normal. That's what you see, that's what you're taught, that's what you're fed, and it's what you internalize. And
Yeah, and I think they do know what they're doing because, yeah, like you said, it is normal, and that is something that's key in helping people understand. Like for example, when we try to normalize, uh, like respecting people's gender
mm,
uh, identity or stuff like that, right? Like when we try to normalize using the correct pronouns, but they use that for the opposite way. Like they use it to normalize all of these weird, strict, oppressive things against women that come from very specifically from the religion. And so I think that they do get into people's psychological aspects and they're like, hey, like this is the way that we normalize this. So
yeah.
because if the earlier you start it, the
Yes,
more the
that's
person
key.
will feel like it is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
normal.
think that may at some point helped me because maybe I had a couple years where I mean, of course there's still that like rhetoric, boys versus girls, but it's really like pounded into your head when you're hearing it like four times a week. That's a little bit different. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, when I finally like I always thought it was weird. Like I didn't get it. I was like, well, this don't make no damn sense because we're the same. Like damn, that's so freaking stupid. But I don't know, I had to go with it. At least I thought I had to go with it until like I realized, like, bitch, you ain't gotta do nothing. You don't have what? You don't have to do anything. I didn't know that. I really did not know that I had the freedom to not do that. And then when it, finally hit, I was like, oh my goodness, I fell for the okey doke. I was the one falling for the
Um,
old okey doke the most of my life. Yep. Oh
but
well.
yeah, I felt that way about like purity culture because for me, like I said, growing up we were atheists, but I moved here like when I was like 15, and that was like when I sort of started seeing religion as the norm.
Mm.
Because, like, in Argentina, where I lived before, I, there was like, I lived in like a super tiny rural area. There was no church, nothing religious at
Oh,
all.
wow.
And so moving here to the United States, it was like there's a freaking church at every
Oh,
corner.
it's like
And we,
CVS on every damn corner. Or that's like a pharmacy here. I don't know if they have them there, but yeah,
oh yeah, yeah, we
basically
did.
a damn pharmacy on every corner. It's a church on every corner.
Exactly. And so like it started to become normal. And I always mentioned that I did move into the house of I think they were evangelists. I don't keep in touch with them anymore. But I'm pretty sure they were like some of the like more hardcore, religions. So it was like I went from like barely dipping a toe into religion to like
Full
diving
steam
nose
ahead.
first, right? And so it was it was really weird because I started seeing that a lot of the women were following all of these purity culture, rules of like dressing modest and that you have to look pretty for your husband and
Mhm.
wearing your hair nice and
Yeah.
uh, all of these type of things that don't talk about sex, don't say that dirty
Oh
word,
gosh. Right.
and
Yeah. Like what
right.
the ugh.
And I felt like it was also in social media because this was like back in the early 2000s before we were like in all of these spaces. um so like what I got from the media and what I got from the people around me was like a lot of period culture. And so it's taken me, I would say, like last year was like the first time that I actually thought about it, and I started being like, whoa, okay, I don't have to do that. I don't have to dress
Right.
girly. So now you'll always find me in a t-shirt because that's what I like.
You're being right. Now you're comfortable. You're being
Yeah.
authentic to yourself, and you don't have to stick to any stupid standards. I mean, it is really so weird how things are gendered, like clothes are gendered, really, when like Jesus would have worn, so Jesus was wearing a dress. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. We like nobody ever talks about that part.
yeah, like come on, it's clothes. It's on your body, so you don't see my goody bits,
I
my
mean,
my
throughout,
tiddly bits.
yeah, like if you think about it, throughout all of mankind's history, people have changed and evolved in the things
Oh
that they wore.
gosh,
Like the Egyptians
yeah.
were like this kind of like miniskirt type thing,
Right, yeah, hey, shoot, if
and
I
and
look like
long
that, I will
hair.
too.
Yeah, and the men were proud of like having like all of these things that look like long hair, and so it's like we
And
change, we evolve.
the,
Oh
kajil,
yeah, the makeup,
yeah, uh-huh. I
the
think
cat
it's
eye, whatever it's called.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's called kajil, whatever. Anyway, whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely like Egyptian Swana region somewhere in there. Might even be like Canaan area, but yeah, I mean, it's just to protect your eyes from the bright sun. It's smart. Less
yeah,
reflection up into your eye. And it also had like micro, I think it helped to fight like bacteria and stuff like that as well. So it had medicinal properties. So like the hell. And
yeah. Like
it's still used today. And no and they're not looking at each other like, "Oh, you know, what's wrong with you?" It's normal. It's normalized.
yeah, I was told this thing like, look, if you like wearing long sleeve shirts, and one day you have an accident and you lose an arm, you're not gonna stop wearing long sleeve shirts just
Mm,
because you don't have that body part anymore.
mm.
Clothes are just pieces of fabric. It shouldn't be like about what shape of genitals or private parts you even have. They can or can't wear that type of thing.
It's so
And so
weird.
yeah, for me, like that was like one of the things that started breaking down the beauty culture stuff for me. And then having
Mhm.
more conversations with other people where we talk about sexuality and things like not in a shameful way. And I feel like everybody should be able to have these conversations and not feel ashamed of it.
No,
Uh-uh.
it's all human biology, human nature. Kids shouldn't be ashamed of their self, of their body parts. They should know what they are, how they perform, and learn, boundaries, so that way they feel comfortable telling people no. Don't force your kids to be hugging and kissing on people if they're uncomfortable, because you're just, especially in situations where the man is the one you should always follow the lead of. It's kind of uncomfortable. Like, you don't want to kiss some dude, but like if he wants to give you a hug and a kiss, like, yeah, I guess you got to do it. That's weird. Shouldn't be that way.
It really is. Yeah, I think a lot of men are so masculine that they will feel emasculated if the woman was the one to initiate things, and it's just so
I
weird.
don't get it. Yeah, and I'm not, and it's, there's nothing wrong with, like, traditionally you just, that's how you want it, but like, shit, you see something, go get it.
Yeah, it shouldn't
Go
be
get,
like the rule.
go get it. Yeah, before
So
somebody else does, anyway.
right, yeah. So I had a question. You said that your family started getting into religion when you were like 5, and then by 10 it's a lot more prevalent. And so, what age did you come out of religion? And did your family stay in it too, or
Yeah, so my parents are still in. I got relatives still
oh,
in. I didn't start deconstructing till it was right before COVID. So it's been, I guess, is that 5 years now?
oh,
5 years,
that's cool.
I think.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I
COVID
guess.
was 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. 5 years. Just hit my mark. 5 years. So yeah, that's about the time that it all started to happen. So it was really the perfect time to hunker down and start reading the good old Bible. See it from a new POV is what I did. And boy, got by gosh, by golly, it sure did wake me up. I started to see things much clearer, very clear.
So you hadn't like actually read the full Bible before. It was more like when what they teach you, and like what they give you
Yeah,
like the
and
verses and
that's really how it's intended to be. You're really not supposed to just
exactly,
read the
yeah.
Bible. You're really the Bible's just the companion. You're supposed to read their literature, and the Bible's just the companion. But this is the main course. Is what they feed you is the main course. Now, I did read the Bible myself, like at the Kingdom Hall. Like I just started at Genesis and reading through, and I caught a lot of stuff that I thought was weird, but nobody else thought it was weird. So what am I to do?
Yeah,
I just don't understand it. I
right.
get that same damn argument in my comments today. You just don't understand. You look like a 5-year-old trying to explain algebra. Somebody told me the other day. I was like, oh my God, I want to be mad at you, but that was really funny.
That is.
So I was like, fine, I'm gonna let you have that jab. That's cool. It's good.
That's so funny.
I'm tired of that same damn argument. Sheesh.
Oh gosh, yeah. But so my question about that is like when okay, I've heard the term excommunicated, right?
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean? Like I obviously I know the word if I break it down, but like as a Jehovah's Witness, what does that mean for the
Like
religion? For like your
JW lingo, because JWs have like secret coded language.
yeah.
So that's one of their, you'd never hear the word. You'd never hear that word until like one day you found out about somebody being disfellowshipped, and then you'd be like, wait, what is this? What is that? So they call it,
Oh yeah, that's the one. This
they,
fellowship.
well,
Okay.
they did call it disfellowshipped, but then they got in trouble in Norway. They were getting their religious registration revoked, which is now still like up in the air.
Mm.
But because of their policy of, excommunicating children, basically shunning children is what they're doing. And it causes a plethora of problems, just so many. I mean, it really messed me up. It did. It really did. So because of that, they changed disfellowshipped to removed.
Mm. As if it was any different.
Because it's so different. It's just so different to say remove versus disfellowship. Like, bitch, we ain't in the kingdom hall no more. You took us out. You kicked us out. Just say you kicked us out. Admit it. Say it. So it basically means that any tie you had to anybody at the kingdom hall has to be severed. If you work with them, you might not lose your job, but they won't speak to you anymore. They will not talk to you.
Wow.
I mean, you can talk to any JW who's been disfellowshipped and been in that situation, and a lot of them are, because a lot of them work for each other because they have like cleaning businesses and things of that nature, building, plumbing. They do a lot of handy work because they build a lot of kingdom halls. You know, you got to that real estate machine
Have some
churning.
workers.
Yeah, man, you need tradesmen to build you new kingdom halls so you can sell them and make, you know, billions and billions of dollars. Oh shoot, what was the question? Oh, are we still talking about disfellowshipped, right?
Oh yeah, like what does that mean
So
exactly for the
so
person? Kind of like what you
yeah.
just described. Yeah.
So if you had a job with somebody, you could lose your job. If you have friends in the kingdom hall, they're not allowed to talk to you anymore, so you can't hang out. So you lose your whole connection to your network of friends. So if you don't have friends outside, which many people don't because you're really not supposed to, you're in this world all alone now. You might even lose like where you lived, because if you live with your parents or something, you know, something like that, they might kick you out. Yes, that happens all the time. And one of the reasons why Norway was like, we're fighting you on this. You're taking children's human rights away. Like they should not be removed from their homes, from their friends, from their life. That's inhumane. So anyway, they're fighting the good. So that's what that means. You know, Catholics, I think, call it excommunicated, but a lot of us JWs still call it disfellowshipped, but you know, shunned.
Disfellowship.
It's all the damn same. They changed the word, they changed the name. It's still the same. I mean, they kind of changed it a little bit. New light, that new light thing. So new light is that you can greet a disfellowship person because before you were never allowed to greet them. So now you can greet a disfellowship person.
Wow.
But if you invite them to the kingdom hall, which you're supposed to invite them to the kingdom hall, if they continuously like turn you down, then that's it. That's as far as it goes. You invite them to the kingdom hall, you can say hi, no more, no further. So, you know, you might have to say goodbye to your best friend, which has happened, you know, that's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of people I know.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Like, how did that affect you? Like, did you actually lose your jobs and like, imagine friends and family as well?
So I have to say that I was very fortunate that my family still talk to me. It's a little different because you're not supposed to talk about like religious stuff,
Hmm.
but that was fine. Though I mean, I honestly I was kind of I was actually kind of fine with that.
Wow.
But yeah, I had just had a baby, and you know my family wants to see the baby and things like that. So thankfully they were good about it, but I still lost friends and stuff like that. So I'm like one of the lucky ones because the elders told me at like when they just felt I can speak. When they disfellowshipped me, they told me that they decided to allow my parents to allow me to stay in the home. Because
Wow.
again, they would usually like kick you out, but they allowed my parents to allow me.
Because you had a baby, I'm guessing, maybe.
Yeah, because
Okay.
that's why I got this fellowship. Had sex. Oh, purity culture.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So you were like a proper heathen.
Yes. And you know, so much guilt
Yeah.
and like suffering for just wanting to like enjoy your body. I'm not saying like 14-year-olds should go I'm not, you know, I'm not saying that. But like, come on, teenagers are going to do things. The best thing that you can do is properly
Educate.
educate them about their body and the dangers and, you know, pros and cons. Like, come on. If you want them to think like an adult, then you need to give them all the information so they can make
Right.
better educated decisions, because guess what happened to Adam and Eve? You see what happened there? You see what happened when you don't give them knowledge? You see what happens? She did a
They
bad
wanna.
thing, right? So it's like, come on. You would have told her what good and evil means if you would have told her like, hey, you can do A, B, C, D, F, G. Hey, this is what happens when you like. They knew none of those things, and that was the output. Same thing with kids. Just let them learn. Let them be kids and just better protect it. I'm not telling you let your kid go have sex. I'm just saying they need to know how these things work. They really do.
But they are like they are teenagers, and at some point that is gonna happen, and the
They're gonna
better
find a place to do it.
educated they are, the better, the better they can make that decision,
Mhm.
and not make that many mistakes. Because if we're not educated about it, they might make five mistakes. If they're educated about it, maybe this will be just one.
Right. But
you
if you
know?
continuously stop them, always put a roadblock to them making a mistake, they're not really learning. They're not developing those skills to really figure how to maneuver in the world, because life is full of freaking surprise. Like every day is a new thing, and you can't just, well, they'll try to, but you can't just pick up your Bible for everyday problems and try to see what fucking First Peter says. What goddamn kind of sense does that make? It does not compute, does not correlate, and will not work. So you need to let them learn how to think for themselves.
Yeah. So what, you just say that, okay, I was gonna ask you why did you get this fellowship, that then you say that it was because you had a baby. And
Surprise.
so yeah, so what are some other reasons that somebody might get this fellowship in the
Oh
Jehovah's
goodness.
Witnesses? Because I was like, why would they do that
Well,
to a young teenager? Like, instead of trying to help you, they just kicked you to the
yeah, they
freaking
just like,
curb.
now they say that they will
Uh,
like give you chances. But again, it's up to that congregation. They may not. If it's a more
I mean, they're
misogynistic,
pearl crutchers.
yeah, it's really going to be up to each congregation's discretion. It's not a universal like tick a box and this is what you get. Like those dudes pray and say that God's spirit is coming upon them to help them make the decision. Like basically God is telling them. So you think that the outcome of that, revelation, that you're getting disfellowship because you're having like a judicial meeting, like you think that that's coming straight from God's mouth, right? Because they're like they're acting as the mouthpiece, and God just said, "You're dead to me," right?
Right? It's wild. It's wild.
It really is.
Like,
But
yeah,
okay, so
I'm
more
just getting
things.
mind blown by your personal case, because I had no idea that's how you were this fellowship.
Yes, sex
It
is a
really blew
big
my mind.
one.
It really
Sex
blew my
sex
mind.
is usually a big one, especially for teenagers. Like, just come on, it's going to be. Smoking, you could get disfellowship for smoking. You could disfellowship for gambling, like scratch offs or
Mhm.
actual gambling. Yeah, or disagreeing with what the literature says. Like if you were to say, no, this scripture says this, but the literature says this. If you like, no, 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 that it does not say, like you could get disfellowship for that. They even have a video that got leaked of someone, getting disfellowshipped for just disagreeing. They're going to school could possibly even get you disfellowship, like college, a certain job. If you worked, like maybe,
Wait, you're not supposed to go to college?
no, you're not. Hi, baby. Nope, you are not allowed
Wow.
to go to college. I mean, some do, but again, there's a video out of that as well that got leaked of someone in the congregation, a man, the head of the household, getting in trouble because he was allowing his daughter to go to school, and it was stumbling other people in the congregation. They didn't like it that he was allowed to let his daughter go to school.
So are men allowed to though?
No, no, no. Even
Okay.
men are not supposed
Okay.
to. No. So it's just
Yeah.
yeah, everybody,
It was
it's,
like his
yeah,
children.
education
Yeah.
is just looked down upon, just point blank, because again, you're going to get accustomed to other people's cultures and meet and interact with new ideas that you just never thought you just never thought of. It would wake you up.
Yeah,
I have no doubt it
you're
would wake
right.
you up, and they know that.
And if you think about it, like, asking around, many of the atheists that we talked to came out of religion after they went to college, because that experience of being exposed to different
Mhm.
uh, cultures, because you meet people from other cultures,
Right.
uh, other walks of life, like, disabled people, LGBTQ people, people of color, all
Yep.
kinds of minorities, and you start seeing that they are different, and that they have
Or
different
and just
values,
like
and that it's
you.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it look like different, but absolutely like the same. You want probably very similar things, like similar ideals, generally, right? And they're not so different. Oh, your family does it this way. Oh, well, we do that celebration this way. And when you really think about it, and you do all those different things, and you don't have Satan attacking you like allegedly would happen to a Jehovah's Witness if you were partaking in some other kind of like ritual or tradition, because Satan and the demons will be waiting for you to slip up. And like, oh, that doesn't happen to you. So maybe my religion isn't the one true religion. It's that,
yeah,
I
that's
mean, like,
when.
think of it. That, I mean, a lot of like kids from like Mormons, that why did Mormons create a school? BYU, I think it is, because number one, because they want people to make more money so that way they can get more tithes,
Yeah.
but because they can keep them educated but still wrapped in that indoctrinated system, and still indoctrinating them when they're teens into their adulthoods, to the point where like they don't come out of it. But there's no JW college, so it's not gonna work the same.
Right, yeah. They gotta make sure that the science classes align with the
Yeah. Oh, because it's
creationism and
right, like there's so much to it. Like I remember going to school, and I loved science, and it started to like break down for me, I think somewhere in like 10th 11th grade, when it was just very conflicting for me, because the things I was getting taught at the Kingdom Hall were conflicting with the things I was learning at school. And I was like, wait, now how is that like, how is what you're saying evolution is possible when I know my God? Like, how couldn't it be God? Look how perfect it is. Look how intricate my eye is. That couldn't have just happened. It couldn't
oh
be
yeah,
God.
don't forget the eye.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, give me a break. Yes. So education is absolutely evil. It's the
Oh yeah,
worst.
it has to
I mean,
be.
nowadays it is, because the poor kids are being dragged through the ringer with the payments and the student loans, and it's gotten
Oh
ridiculous. I feel bad for kids, but I think college is great. I don't think you should have to go. I think it should be more affordable, but
yeah, like if you
you should have the option.
right, if you look at countries
Uh-oh, hot dog. Am I froze? Am I still here? Can you guys see me? Did AJ freeze? I think AJ is frozen. Somebody in the comments let me know if I'm still here, because I don't know if her system stopped or what. But hello, everybody. Welcome to the chat. I don't know if
oh
Dandy, hey. Oh, you're back
okay.
now. I
Okay, I
I
thought it
wasn't
was you
sure.
at
No,
first, and then I was like, okay.
I'm sorry. I don't even know what you were saying. You got cut
Oh,
off.
yeah, apparently. I have no idea what happened. Like, hopefully my internet isn't messing up.
It was just that one time that I
Okay,
noticed.
good. Yeah, perfect. All right, thank you for holding it down for like that whole minute. I was freaking out. Uh,
Yeah, I was like, am I gonna have to finish the show out here?
but yeah, okay. I don't really know where my thoughts were going, but so let's just kind of pick up. Um, I was thinking about what you said earlier. How different ideas each religion holds, right? And I think everybody in the chat obviously is, well, the majority of them are ex whatever religion, and
Probably.
so we have all, held ideas and beliefs that were not true, that were not right. Some may have been some type of phobics, right? But we changed our perspective, we changed our worldview, and
Hmm.
because we worked hard at it to try to educate ourselves in whatever topic that was, and we tried to surround ourselves with the type of people that we are trying to uplift. And so I think one of the things that I see a lot is people holding back because of comfort to religion, right? So when you were disfellowshipped, did you immediately decide that you were going to leave religion, or were you still kind of like so indoctrinated that you're still trying to make sense of like there being a God and stuff like that?
Oh God, no! I was begging to get back in. I was, oof! I wanted to be
Okay.
back in so bad, but you just have to wait. You have to live in wallow in your guilt. You know what I mean? They just want you to beg for mercy. So when I first got disfellowshipped, that was all I wanted. I was like, I'm gonna do everything right. I'm gonna go to all the meetings. I'm gonna do all the right things, and I'm gonna get reinstated. And that's what it's called, reinstated. And it took me, I think, 18 months, something like that, close to 2 years to get reinstated. That's how long they made me wait.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like some
Well,
people, it's maybe 6 months, some a year. I mean, some it's longer. I mean, it really just depends. Again, it's all up to the dudes. It's the dudes who see fit in the congregation. They make the decision according to the Holy Spirit coming upon them.
wow.
And like,
Wow.
I can't even believe I used to like, I can't believe I fell for that like bogus stuff. Like, oh my God, yeah, the Holy Spirit, my ass. It's your friggin' ego, bro. You're talking to your damn self.
Speaking of spirit, Joseph
Hail
said it.
Satan, thank
I
you for
have
bringing her
risen.
back.
Yeah. What do you like once you were like, okay, I'm done with this? What would you say was the hardest belief or idea to give up, to let go of?
Whew, that is a really good question. What is um I think maybe it could be Armageddon, maybe, because I think that's,
The end of
even
a
though, like,
world.
I know
Okay.
that it's okay, I know that there's no God. I know that Armageddon, as portrayed in their heads and in their literature, Jehovah's Witness literature, Watchtower, imagination, wet dream, if you will, that it's not going to happen. But I guess my anxiety stems from the fact that I think that people will make it happen. Like they are actually
Wow.
that's what
Okay.
they're making it happen currently because they want to bring Jesus back. So that one I'm still, I mean, I'm always going to struggle. I'm going to struggle with it until we shut this shit down, until they stop trying to bring the end of the world.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree that there's such a fear factor to a lot of aspects of religion, and definitely that one is something that I'm quite fearful of. I'm always freaking out about like natural disasters and stuff like that. So for me,
Yeah.
that thinking like social disruption in that way would be quite scary for me.
Because I mean, it kind of is like a flashback. All the
Yeah.
pictures I've seen as a kid is what's going to happen. Is it going to be fire raining down from the sky? Is it going to be molten lava? Is it going to be dudes on horses with swords and arrows? Like, I don't know what's coming for me. Is Jesus going to have a Glock? Like, I don't know what's going to happen. But every time there's some huge kickoff, I'm like, okay, no, it's actually okay. Like, it's just that second where I've got to tell myself, like, no, they're just douchebag being douchebags. Like, I know what they're trying to do, but hopefully that's not going to happen. But it still just gets my anxiety sometimes.
Yeah, and I think they definitely know how to put that into people.
Oh,
And
it's intentional.
Yeah, it is intentional. Exactly. It's like a manipulation tool. They use
Yes.
psychology to get people to feel weak, to feel
Mm-hmm.
like they need that church, and to feel like they can't leave. Because if you leave, then all of your fears are going to come true.
Oh yeah, and everybody out in the world is like out to get you. You know, they're gonna
Yeah.
rob from you. They're gonna rape you. You know, and that's kind of how they portray everybody in the world. And then again, you go to college, you realize like, oh, they're actually kind of nice people. I didn't even know he
Hmm.
was gay or whatever. Like, I didn't realize because it doesn't freaking matter. You know, it's just respecting each other is what freaking matters.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. It seems like, for example, with people who are very racist or specifically, they they actually understand representation because they are looking to be the only ones being represented,
Yes,
right?
they
So,
understand it.
because I was like, oh, they're always complaining about, well, why do you need to be, why do black people need to see, uh, I don't know, like dark skin toys or stuff like that? And it's like, well, you try to explain representation and they don't quite get it. But if you really think about it, it's all they're about. Like they
Yep,
want to be the only ones represented.
yep. Representation only
And
means them, and for some reason, they feel as though when there's diversity, they're under attack because everyone having equality, for some reason, means they're not gonna be like the upper class, I guess now. They're not gonna have anyone to look down on if we're
mhm.
all equal. You know what I mean? To some extent.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
how
and with
pitiful.
Christian, yeah, with Christian nationalism, it works the exact same way. Like that's all they're trying to do, to be the only one that's being represented, the only one that's around, the only one everybody believes in, and everybody else
Yep.
can suck it. And yeah,
Can
but
suck
I
it.
mean,
They're
yeah,
cornering the market right now. They are, they're just sweeping the rights right out from underneath of us.
but that's exactly why they do things like take away uh, all of these health, gender affirming healthcare rights, taking
Practically all
away
healthcare.
women's, yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much, right? Because they know that this is going to thin the population, basically, right? Like you're gonna have so many trans people who no longer want to stick around in this world because we know that there are higher risks for that when they're not affirmed, when they're not
Mm-hmm.
supported. And
Yep.
so them taking away that support, and they're like, you know what, how do we get them to go away? That's how we get them to go away.
Yep.
And the same thing with the women that don't want to follow their rules and go out and get pregnant because they were being sluts,
Yeah.
right? It's
That's the
like,
only reason. Yeah. That's the
yeah,
only way a woman gets pregnant,
it's
apparently.
it's mind blowing.
A person
So
gets pregnant. Yeah.
I really think that it makes it gives women unique struggles when they are leaving religion. Like I'm not saying that men don't face struggles when they leave religion, all
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like
They do.
everybody
They
does.
absolutely do. Yeah.
But I think that that aspect of bodily autonomy is so much stronger, so much more indoctrinated on women,
Mm.
that makes it so much harder for them to leave uh, their religion.
Well, you
But
were talking before the show about like rape culture. And
oh
I mean,
yeah,
it's so bad here. The fact that people even deny it, it just shows you how that they don't even see it. They don't see it. Like, you shouldn't be asked what were you wearing if you were
yeah.
assaulted. Like,
So
that's the stupidest. Like, if someone gets robbed, what were you wearing? Why? No, like, you're dumb. Like, what is wrong with
yeah,
you?
like
You ask
temptation,
a 90-year-old woman what she was wearing when she got assaulted? Huh?
right? Like it's all about temptation, right? Like we are reasonable, a reasoning species, a species that can reason and use their brains to reason. Like
Hello.
if if I'm eating dinner with you and we both have a plate, just because you have a plate of food in, like let's say the waiter brings your plate first, just because I don't have a plate doesn't mean that I have the right to take away your plate and eat it all,
Mm,
right? Like, just because the woman is right in front of you, it doesn't matter whether she's naked, it doesn't mean you have a right to go and take her
right,
body. Like,
right.
that is not your body. You don't have autonomy
It's not
over
your
that
cake.
body,
It ain't your body.
right? For any reason at all, including being naked, right? Because imagine, like, if somebody passes out, like, no, that doesn't give you a right just because they can't say no.
Right. Ugh. Ew. And it's so gross. Like, oh God. And the fact that like people like have sex with dead bodies, like
Yeah, I can't.
women aren't even safe in death. It's gross.
Yeah. So, uh, for everybody watching, what Ryan was talking about is we were speaking about. I'm not gonna give a name just because I don't want to be like type of cancel culture person. But we were discussing a video by an atheist content creator who I've enjoyed the content that they created before. But there was this one specific video where he was talking to a woman, a female caller, and they were discussing the man versus bear, and they were going back and forth and this and that. And she asked him a question, and he goes back and starts saying, "You know what? This might blow your mind, but I don't think that rape culture exists in America." And she replies with something like, "Well, I'm not surprised because everything you've been saying before this sounds like somebody who doesn't believe that rape culture exists." And his defense is that he says something along the lines of, "Well, isn't it illegal? Isn't rape illegal? Like, does that count for
Brr.
nothing?" He said, I was, my jaw dropped to the ground when he said that because I did not expect somebody to say something like that,
Yeah.
especially somebody that you've seen before who is a very critical thinker
Oh,
and reasoning. And
it's the worst when you're like, wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. How are you not like? I thought you were good at reasoning and rationale. Where is it? It's lacking.
especially when he was just before that trying to break down the man versus bear argument as
Right.
being fallacious or something along those lines, like not logical. But anyways, he was saying this in a way that was like, for me personally, I was thinking, well, same with murder, right? It doesn't mean that murder doesn't exist just because it's
Because there's a
illegal.
law against it, right?
Like,
The reason there is a law is probably because it's happening a little bit too much. It's not a one off, you know?
right. Yeah, it's not like, oh, look, there's one case over there down in the mountains or somewhere very
Right.
isolated. No.
Murder, what is that? I've never heard of it before.
Yeah.
Could you
So,
imagine?
like, like I mentioned before the show as well, look at just the amount of rape kits that are not processed. And
No,
here
there's
in
no.
Houston, we have a huge problem with that. And so, out of these cases of women having been sexually abused, are just sitting there. The women are sitting in fear. The men are out there potentially doing it again. And the alleged law that is supposed to protect them is just not functioning. It's not functional. Like, yeah, sure, it is illegal and it's written in a paper somewhere, but it doesn't mean that it is being put into place. Like
Mhm.
the process is not working that way.
Right.
And also, like you said a moment ago, like the whole temptation thing. Oh, look, she was wearing this, so she probably was asking for it, or well, she was a
Mhm.
prostitute. Like, no, she was working. She wasn't asking for to be abused and
Right.
against her will, right? Or thinking that just because somebody's a dancer or something like that, that they can go and
Oh god, I mean, a
touch
human
anything
is
they
a
want.
human. A human is a human, and every human has human rights. And they should be afforded those human rights no matter what they look like, what their job is. Just end of the end of the discussion. I'm so tired of the dehumanization of people because maybe they're houseless. Get the frick over it. It could be any one of us. Like seriously, if we ever like we're down on our luck, you don't know what you might have to do to pay the damn bills. Like
Mhm.
honestly, stop
Exactly.
being judgmental.
I was talking to my husband about sex workers recently, and we both agreed that, you know, well, the majority of women do it just because it's a job, because it pays pretty well, because they don't have other type of education
Hmm.
that gets them to even barely afford keeping a roof over
It's
their
systemic.
heads or their children.
The system is built
Yeah.
to keep us down. We're not paid the same, we're not seen the same, we're not heard the same, we're not afforded the same opportunities. That is just the truth. I'm not saying that it's always the same for every single person, but you know, if this is the game of Monopoly, some people are starting at different points of the board, and some people get to skip past jail, and some people get paid when they go past go, and some people get paid less when they go past go, right? We're
Hmm.
doing all the same damn things, but we're getting less for it. So that, and plus the, you know, the pink tax, there's so many things. It's just a lot. There's tentacles
Oh yeah. Mm.
hold us back, that don't afford us the same, you know, the same journey in life.
It's awful, and it feels really unfair. We were talking about some other, issues where that I'm facing recently, where frustrations with misogyny and being kind of like not valued in the same way.
Hmm.
Like some like people saying, like what you do isn't as good as what these other guys, males, are doing, but simply because they are male. Like we are all putting in the same, if not sometimes even more effort, and still not being seen. And it's really, really
Hmm.
unfortunate. And I think, okay, I'm going to go back to what we were just talking a minute ago, because it ties in with the man versus bear argument. Like, we have been trying to tell men how we feel about that, about the unbalanced level of abuse against women. Um, Here in Houston, there's been like several women shot lately, like
Oh,
within the last couple of weeks, by their
what?
exes,
Oh my
specifically
god.
by their exes. And
See?
it was getting to me because like my husband goes and does reporting for news and local news, and I was seeing all these cases, and I was like, what is going on? Like we hadn't seen that level, that amount of cases of this, uh I guess, extremely toxic
Malevolence.
men
Yeah.
that can't take a
Evil.
woman breaking up with them and moving on with their lives, that so much that they have to go and take their lives.
All right. You can't be told. There's nothing there's nothing that a, you know, a woman or man or they whatever should do that should drive you to kill them, and especially not just because you don't want to be with them anymore or you're turning them down. And
Hmm.
that happens all the time. I mean, I from that, you know, who do you choose? The man or the bear or the man or whatever. So many women gave their experiences with why they would choose the bear. And it was just freaking appalling. And some of the thing, like just for like people were playing voicemails after one date. After one date. Like, no wonder she doesn't want to date you. You are dangerous. If you're talking to her in this manner, God forbid what would happen if it were a couple months, a year, and it didn't work out. Eek, I'd be afraid for my life.
Yeah, so I was really disappointed by this content creator and the way that the woman was just trying to explain. Listen, I understand that it's not, maybe not logically perfect argument, but that we are trying to say that we are being hurt by men to a point where we are scared.
Hmm.
And he comes back with something like, I don't think women are as terrified of men as they say that they are, because like you wouldn't really pick a bear if you were, like, women are not actually thinking it through. Like they wouldn't actually pick the bear if it was like a real situation. And he starts asking her, like trying to make it seem that she
Well, the
was.
bear isn't gonna ask me what I was wearing.
Yeah, like she came up with all those points, right? Like, well, like if you run into the woods and both of them are in front of you, who you rather get attacked by? Like, obviously, you will be fine with just dying quickly from the bear,
Right? At
right?
least I'll be eaten real quick.
Versus potentially being raped for days, or however long this person decides to keep you and like starve you, or whatever
Yeah.
torture they decide to do, right?
Mm.
And he was like, and instead of answering to that, he goes on in this stupid thing of like, well, but I don't think the argument was who would you rather be attacked by. It was just like, who would you rather be alone with? And the woman's just, the poor thing, she was just like constantly trying to explain to the guy like why what he's saying doesn't make sense. And he
Mm.
just doubled down and doubled down. And eventually he came up to saying that the reason he thinks is wrong is because the man versus bear argument stereotypes is a sexist stereotype against men, because we are saying that if we met a random uh, man alone, then we feel in danger only because we are stereotyping a man being a man and
I,
putting him in the same bag as everybody else.
it's because the news, honestly. It's because my experience. Yeah, it's what I've experienced in my life. Yeah, that's why sometimes like my fists are clenched if I walk past a man and like maybe I'm not sure. But yeah, not because of a bear. It's because of how men have behaved. Sorry,
Well,
not
and to me,
sorry.
like the fact that he was trying to mansplain the whole thing to a
Right,
woman,
mansplain our
firstly,
yeah. Please mansplain my feelings to me, please.
that's like exactly why we need man versus bear argument, because you're
You're not
breaking it
doing
down.
it. And it's still not clicking. What ain't clicking, buddy?
And it's like you're completely discounting the the experiences that women are telling you they have experienced. And yes, I'm not going to deny that men do get raped too, okay, or that they get sexually abused.
Absolutely.
it
Yes.
it
Yep.
does not discount that.
Nope, not at all.
But
That's a problem too, and they should be
yeah,
not they should not fear speaking out. Like there's stereotypes or whatever that need to be removed from that as well, because it's not fair. That's
yeah,
part of
yeah.
rape culture as well. You can
Exactly.
keep people feeling guilty and like, oh, I don't want to talk about, I don't want people to know, all that just goes into the shame spectrum, and you eat it like you did it, and it's not your fault. It wasn't what you wore. It wasn't. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and I mean there are amazing allies who are men. Okay, we have
Yes,
them, and
and we need them.
they
We
get it.
because they're the ones who probably are listened to more than
That's
would
what
I
I
say.
always bring up. Okay, so I was talking to a friend who is a white guy, and I was like, "Look, I appreciate you because sometimes when I've had to speak up, and people would not listen to anybody but somebody like you. So I appreciate having you as that person to communicate that for me, because it's the only thing that these white people are gonna listen to. Like this, like, oh man, yeah,
They
it's
they
really
just
really
don't
annoying.
understand this system.
Yeah.
They're not being honest with the system. How from infancy girls are treated. We bear the responsibility for, like, oh my god, you were showing shoulder in school and little Sean couldn't pay attention. Oh gosh, like, oh, my ankles were out and
House, yeah,
Mike
how
Mike
dare
couldn't
you?
pay attention in class today. Like, give me a break. You gotta teach kids self-control, man. Like, come on. You can't expect people to live by your prudishness.
Like I mean, women do it, right? Like we're not always out there like staring down at the man in the classroom, at the boys. I don't know what, like the wrists or something, or the back of the neck.
Yeah, breathing down his neck.
Like, but we just, even within spaces like the atheist communities, and we do find a lot of humanists and people who actually do respect women, they respect LGBTQ people. But then you also have within the same spaces people like this, and who just don't get it, or who are a little bit biased. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and the reason is because even I have held bad or negative beliefs in the past, and it took me a very long time to break them down or to understand them or to educate myself on it. And so I'm like, all right, you know what? They're still on their journey, and I can hope that as good as all of their other reasoning skills have come up so far, maybe this is one that they're still working on, right? So I'm not gonna like completely discount them based on that one thing, because I hope that they will continue to work on it and to listen. Hopefully, maybe he's had more calls since then. This was like a year-old video, so maybe he's had more calls to where women have helped him view the errors of his argument, right? Um, but yeah, I say it's really hard to have to be that person doing the educating, and I get it. A lot of like trans people and gay people have to do the same thing, and unfortunately, spend a lot of their spoons on
Right.
and hoping that the people will move on to a better.
It's so
Uh,
it's just so, which is why we need, good allies, because you
mm,
know not every, like, black people shouldn't have to fight racism on their own. We need to do, like, heavy lifting. People with disability, like, they're tired. They barely have the spoons
absolutely.
and they're tired. They've been doing it. So if you're waking up and you're realizing, like, there's something off keel in this world, start using that mouthpiece of yours and dragging that evil out into the light, because that is one of the biggest ways that we will get rid of it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny. I've done maybe like 25 or so episodes of my show, my live show, and you are the very first woman I've had on.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was thinking about that
Woo!
earlier. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Like
Thank you very
I've
much.
asked a couple, but like our schedules haven't lined up yet. But it's like it goes. It just made me think that it goes to show how it is. It is heavily male space.
Everything
Um,
all the stuff I've done,
I
like collaborations, a lot of it is
yeah,
always a lot of it is male. It's heavy male because
yeah.
there's a lot of men in this atheist sphere.
Yeah, but the reason I've had them on is because I appreciate their support and the allyship,
Yeah.
right? Like I know these are people that are the good beans, you could say.
Right. And I want to give kudos to those who are, like, doing the right thing, because a lot of times it pays just to be a douchebag. There's more money in being a fuckface.
Right? Yeah, but I mean, if you actually look at the spaces of the opposition, it is mostly white men. So
It
yeah, we really need the allies to get through to them. Hopefully one day, right?
We keep
So
trying.
yeah, because I mean, unfortunately, like this experience is not isolated to the online community. It's just like in every space that you can think of, like education, science,
Mm.
technology. Uh, my sister, she's a badass, but she used to work for the oil companies here in Texas, and it was like all men, and she will be so frustrated sometimes, and because it was just exhausting for her to have to deal with the misogyny day
The
after day
Texas
after
jokes,
day.
it's the same jokes, it's the
Yeah,
same thing over, like, "Oh, okay, I've never heard that one before." Yeah, it's
yeah,
hard, sometimes it's draining, but, I've learned to just you swallow it, because you just have to be prepared for it. Not, you shouldn't just swallow it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you learn that to
yeah,
expect that it's going to
Block it.
happen to, yeah, it's going to happen to you.
Yeah, and sometimes you feel like if you let it get to you or affect you, or if you respond to it in a hard way, then in a harsh way, sorry, then you're gonna make
Right,
it work for
exactly.
yourself. You're only
Right,
making it work for
exactly.
yourself.
It's taken 10
Yeah.
times worse. So I mean, like, when I used to do jobs that are usually male dominated, I was better than them. I just made sure that I was better than them. And like when I would be on the reach truck, like in Home Depot with the forks, when I'd be on the reach truck
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
men would walk, because it was like contractors, and they would walk by and like, I'll watch this girl try to drive.
Mm.
And then I would like smoothly go in, smoothly go out, put it down, and they would just be like, oh. I'm like, yeah, bitch, what the fuck, like, what is different about me? Do my eyes not work the same as yours? Do my hands, is my coordination not, what is different about me that I wouldn't be able to do that job? I don't understand. The difference between us is maybe you can do some more push-ups than me, bitch. And that's it. And when the job we're doing, we don't need to do push-ups. So I'm better than you.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy, and I mean that's the we see that type of silly. I don't know if expectations. I don't know exactly what word it is, but
Yeah.
like of that men think that they are all stronger just because they're men, and
But
that bias leaks into how they see trans people. Like just
yeah.
because somebody was assigned male at birth, that is like you're like, wow, they're always gonna be stronger than the woman, and they're always gonna like want to go and sexually abuse women, and we're like, no,
Has
no, no, no,
nothing,
no, that's
no,
not
has
it.
nothing to do with it. And from what I know, even like when you start taking like estrogen and stuff, like there's muscle mass that is lost. Like you start to slim down into like a more, I guess, stereotypical feminine form. So if anything, you might even be weaker in some, depending on your physical before, but then when you're transitioning, etc. But like there's so much to it, and they just put blanket
Like that
statements.
that girl that Trump is targeting. I think
Oh
she's like a
yes.
high school student, right?
Yes, she's a
And
high school student, and she
and
wanted track, and she got like 2 gold medals at her track and field
right,
competition. And
but it
he's
wasn't
claiming
even
like,
the first place. So that means that there was a cisgender girl that scored higher than her, right? So like, how is she like taking all the medals all of a sudden? But then you see her standing literally next to the girl that took the first place. They are exactly the same height. They were like, if I will compare them, I would say like probably the same weight, the same
yeah,
type of muscle build. They look like really really similar. Like both were very like feminine body shape, and it's
right.
like you can tell that this girl transitioned very early on, and she's not somebody who developed any type of male characteristics of puberty. More than likely had puberty blockers and stuff like that, and went through female puberty, which is what puberty blockers are meant to do. They're meant to make you wait until you're ready, because the human body has to go through puberty, whether whichever you decide, male or female. They can give you hormones to make you transition whichever way.
Right.
And so it sounds like she came out early enough that she was able to have
To
a
do that.
female
Yeah.
puberty. So she is going to develop just like any other girl. And that's awesome. That's awesome because she's young enough that she has that, like a lot of
Right.
people, unfortunately, have been oppressed so much that they don't feel comfortable coming out until much later on.
And that's
And
the
so,
that's it's just and that's sad. That's really sad, because I felt like we were coming to a point where people felt more comfortable to be their authentic selves, and now it just feels like we're really super sorry that there was a knot there and it's bothered me. I always got to be doing something with myself. But what doesn't make sense to me, is like, you could shoot me up with testosterone. That is not going to necessarily mean I can fucking throw a
right.
football better, bitch. Like, it takes training, it takes genetics, athleticism, coordination. Shooting me up, popping a pill does not mean I'm going to be better. That's not how it fucking works. I mean, even if I took steroids, even if I started
Mhm.
shooting myself with steroids, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna be throwing the ball farther tomorrow. There still has to be talent behind that to some extent, right? I mean, maybe if all I want is just to do this with a weight, maybe I can get my bicep bigger than yours now. But like, what? Okay, what am I doing with that? Jerking off? I'm just saying. So like it's just, and this is, I'm dumb. I don't even understand biology and shit like that. I really don't. I really didn't pay attention to a lot of that stuff in school because I didn't think it was real. It
Yeah,
conflicted with what I was being taught. So I didn't pay attention. I don't know. But this seems common sense to me. This seems pretty common sense to me that I can do a lot of things better than a lot of dudes out there. There's going to be a lot of things that I can't do, and vice versa. That's just the nature of it. Again, if you want to get down and do push-ups, there's a possibility you're going to do more push-ups than me. But there's going to be things that I can do with my legs as a woman that you can't do with yours because you know what I mean? Does that mean anything? Does that mean you're bad? No, it just means we're a little bit different, but it isn't. It's this much difference. It's
yeah,
that much.
yeah.
It really is that much difference. I really don't know why they put so much on like the sports ball shit with the
Well,
gotta be only looking like this and acting. I've seen 5-year-olds that are this tall, and I've seen 5-year-olds that are this tall. I mean, genetics are
yeah.
wild, y'all.
My 14-year-old is like a whole head taller than me. So
Right? I mean, but he still should be able to play on that team with his teammates, even though he might tower above, or whatever. I mean, it's
yeah.
sports. It's sports. I mean, like, aren't you going to come up against opponents who are different size and stature? Don't you want to be the best? Like, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of losing to somebody who transitioned? Is that what it is? Is that
To
what you're
be
afraid
honest,
of?
I don't think it has much to do with that. I really think it comes back down to misogyny because well, I don't know about you, but I have not heard a single story about a trans man. I don't know about you.
There's it's not as, I don't think it's as big as a deal. And I think that probably is it, because what are you
Yeah.
afraid of?
I think they're afraid to like a trans woman and like it, you know,
And
and
and and,
and they think
and you'll
that
see that they're not, they're pretty much the same as you. They just might have to take some medicine, like that's it. And your buddy next door probably got to take medicine to get his dick hard. Like, okay, does that make him less of a man? It doesn't.
Right.
It just really, uh,
But
oh,
it's this whole circular thing, okay? Because they see being gay as being weak. They see liking a trans woman as meaning that you're gay and then you're weak. And it all comes down to like thinking that women are weaker because they think of gay men as
mhm.
feminine, right? So
Yes.
it's all about not being seen as equally
Listen,
as a woman.
homosexuality, it's all just women hate. What it comes down to is
Yeah,
that at the bottom of it, when you dig through it, it's the hatred for women.
yeah,
Like the
exactly.
subjugation of the men in the Sodom and Gomorrah story, that was all about being portrayed as a woman. You don't want to be, bending over for a man. You don't want to be penetrated by a man because you don't want to be seen as a woman. That's how much you hate us. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be
Yeah,
seen as one of us. That is all it is about. The hatred for women.
yeah, yeah.
And I really get freaking pissed off when people say it's about homosexuality and gay. No, that story is about the hatred
So,
of women. What did they
yeah.
do to the girl? What did they do? Right? Like, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how much they think that we're property.
Oh
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
We're an
I
object
mean,
to be passed around.
it literally is in the Ten Commandments, like the one where it says, "Do not um, covet your neighbor's property," and then it says, and then it lists a bunch of stuff, And then it's like the donkeys and the wives and the slaves.
They include
Like
things.
she's like mixed up right there somewhere.
Oh my God, it's so it hurts. It breaks my heart because it's really just how it is. We're just thrown in there with the couch and the chair
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the donkey. Oh my!
yeah.
I don't mean to laugh, but it's like so funny,
Uh,
and we're still living in it. And it just some days I'm so infuriated about it, and it's really hard to swallow. And I know I need to like not let it consume me, but it is really frustrating.
I know, and you see it so much, and like when we bring it up to men, yeah, sure, like they get to see that from our side for a moment, but we get to live with that every single
Yes,
day, and like
yes.
it's intricately mixed up in so many aspects of our lives
Mm-hmm.
that it's just
The web.
exhausting.
It is it's it's an extra load to bear when we've already got enough on us, you know. We all have enough in society to bear, and it's just unfair to
Mm-hmm.
continuously heap stuff on on any of us really, because again, you know, this toxic masculinity, it hurts men too. It's not good
It
for them. They're
does.
not living their best life, and I don't want that for them either. I'm just saying, like, hey, listen, how about you just leave me alone? I don't need you to protect me. I want you to leave me alone and let me control myself and my body. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'll be
Like
a happy you do you want to live next to a happy neighbor or miserable neighbor? What
exactly
do you
right.
want? Like what choose, pick one. I would hope it's the happy neighbor. So,
And the the best thing that one can do that I've found so far to be happy is to be able to be authentic. That's what anybody wants, right? You want to be yourself, and that's what we should give to other people. I've met like three different men through the atheist community who are bisexual, and all three of them told me pretty much the same sort of messaging or story, or very similar on how they came out. That they were just so scared to come out as just bisexual, not even gay, because of how society, how their family will see them, how their
yeah,
friends will see them,
right.
and it's so sad because it's like they just want to love whoever they want to love.
What
It's like,
at the
how
end of
is
the
that?
day, like if you ask me like, "Oh, what would you want for, you know, your child's partner?" Like the first thing out of my mouth would be somebody that loves them, that, you know, takes care of them. You know, like the last thing on my list would be the freaking gender. I'm sorry, it's just going to be the last thing on my list. Why do I care? Truly, why do I care? As long as they do all the things that matter, love them, take care of them, honor them, respect them.
Respect, yeah,
I'm
that's about
I
it.
fail to see
Mhm.
the
That they have
problem here.
fun together, you know.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's how one wants for other people to just have that much basic humanity.
Yeah, basic
Sorry
humanity.
about Nightbot. It's
Oh no,
been a
it's,
butthead.
it's okay. It's okay. I'm used to getting in trouble from the robots, honestly. I always get in trouble.
I need to like readjust it a little bit. Like we turned it on, but we haven't like messed with it too much. Yeah.
No worries.
Okay. Let's see. Let me ask you one more question. Like,
Sure.
what? Now, I know that we talk about all of the negative stuff and the negative effects. So let's bring a little bit of positivity.
Oh, positivity. Okay.
What gives you hope now for
Honestly, community.
community?
Community
Yeah.
has been a big like stronghold for me to keep me a bit sane so I don't feel so alone in that like sadness or that anger, that frustration. Because I know there's others out there who feel the same way, who understand, who are doing, you know, their best to advocate for justice. That's what gives me hope. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like over the last few months. Um, I did mention to you that I just got my citizenship, but like right before that, I was so scared to do anything publicly because I was scared that maybe they'll find it and like use it as a reason to pick me up from the office when I go do my interview or something, right? And
Hmm.
throw me into ice or something like that. But the last March, I'm sorry, not March, like the last protest that I attended was in Austin, and it was so uplifting. That
Oh,
sense of community that you just
yeah.
mentioned, it was
Hmm.
beautiful because it was like people wrapped up in rainbow flags and trans flags and like using stuff like people with colorful hair and like shirts with like all of these awesome messages of support for people, even though one person may hold a cause more a little bit higher than another. Like say somebody supports is a big ally of LGBTQ stuff, another one for abortion, another one for I don't know, the rights of women in general. Um, Others were there with like messaging against fascism, all kinds of different messages. But everybody
Right.
was coming together to make one big, hey, let's support all of these, each cause, but
Right.
together. And I just love that sense of community because, as you mentioned at the very beginning of the show, you were talking about how you have to go to like different clubs and things over the week that
Yeah.
they did for this and that. And that's something that I was talking to Secular Rarity recently about and what they're doing with secularizing US and what Durante is doing as well with his global community. And it's like trying to create the same structure that churches offer with like book clubs or gardening clubs or cooking classes or all kinds of different interests that people have, but instead of wasting that time on scriptures and reading the Bible and stuff like that, then you put it on your local community and supporting people in different ways and building that secular community
Right.
with different interests but coming all together, right? Like so I love talking community about when it comes to that. Yeah, I'm actually gonna have SR and Gary. We're still working on the dates, but we're gonna talk about NanoCon and secularizing US and all of that stuff.
I love
It's,
it. Build,
yeah,
we got to build a network
right.
and just keep hope alive, keep pumping out the content, keep getting involved locally, and hopefully we'll start moving the needle as Christianity starts to die off, because I mean it's a freaking wreck. Why wouldn't it die off? Look at it. Like, look at what they're doing, trying to force their God down our throat. Like, ew, I could never, would never now. Oof, you've totally turned me off. Oof.
Oh yeah, the whole thing is just so weird.
Mm-mm. Nope, not gonna happen.
I
Can't love
was
them.
I'm quickly sharing the shows that are gonna come up soon.
Okay, all right, let's see it.
So we have Saturday. EJ, he is a Scottish young man that's
Okay.
moving to America very soon.
Oh,
Okay,
lucky him.
I am
Don't
a little
come.
confused for the poor young man, but
No
we're
way.
gonna we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna talk about the differences between the gun cultures in the UK where he lives and here in America. Like how that ties up with religion, and he really enjoys talking about history. So we're gonna talk about all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be
Nice.
fun. Then next week is the 12th, which I think should be like a Thursday. Okay, yes, exactly a week from now. At 5 p.m. Central, I'm gonna have Lyric. They are a neurodivergent and gender diverse human being who I actually watched their content for quite a few years since my kid was diagnosed with autism. And Lyric is also autistic and ADHD, and they post a lot of content about that in the past. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of what they do. And we're going to talk about all of that and but they are currently very much angry about the political climate. So we're probably gonna
Don't blame them.
like, yeah, it should be very fun. So they're a really really cool person to talk to. Then the 19th, we're gonna have Jeff and Jason. I've had Jason before, Jason Freer. He was in the chat earlier.
Oh yeah, Jason. I know Jason.
Yeah, Jason is one of the organizers for BrahaCon. So we're gonna,
Ooh.
chat about like all the different speakers that they're gonna have, and kind of like how their convention has worked in the past, and how it's gonna work moving forward, and all that stuff, and like how what's going on in the U.S. has affected them, because I've noticed a lot of atheist content creators, or even supporters, are scared to leave the country, or even
Yeah, because they're checking
Canadians.
phones.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's I'm curious how it has affected like their ticket sales and stuff like that. And the last one I have scheduled, up here. I have a bunch of that I've scheduled that I haven't put up yet. I'm working on it. So, anyways, June 28th, another British invasion. Richard Gilliver, he's
Ooh,
also
very
from the
cool.
UK. He's really cool. I talk to him pretty much most weekends after the Talk Heathen show. He's like super interesting person to talk to about philosophy. Okay, I don't know a whole lot about philosophy, but he does. So I always enjoy talking to him about it. And Scott showed interest in talking about the same topic, because he was like, "Hey, I have stuff to say about this, so let's talk about it." So we're gonna talk, because I recently went vegan, and like
Okay.
Richard, although we agree on pretty much everything, that's the one thing where we kind of disagree a little bit. Not a whole lot. Okay, it's just like kind of like he doesn't see it as a morality thing. Like he sees
Hmm.
it more like, you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, then do it. But
Yeah.
there's no morality tied up to it. So we're gonna discuss that kind of aspect, and how it ties up with religion and the Bible, and the way that God created animals for them to be our at our
Oh yeah.
use
Right.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's really fun.
Great.
And
You're very organized.
I try. I
I
have
wish.
like charts and lists and things. Yeah, I put those up because I like to have like people see what's coming up.
No, I think that's
Yeah,
a really good idea to give people time to like and to share and to, see that it's up and
yeah.
coming. No,
I
I think
like,
that's the best thing to do. The longer it's up, I think probably the better. Yeah.
yeah, like for example, Richard. Like I said, I really enjoy what he does. So like he has a show coming up. I think it's right the day before we do that one. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go and click follow, just so that my algorithm lets me know that he's going to be on, right? Like to remind me what day it's going to be on. And so I'll watch it. So if people enjoy the content from a specific person, I like to have that on there. I think tonight we had quite a few viewers that are loyal followers of yours.
Yes, I want to thank everybody who
Yes.
came over. I posted about it. I did say it this morning, but I forgot to say it until like the end. So I don't know. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, I think
yeah,
some
thank you for
somehow
everybody for
it's
coming. I hope you subscribed and you like the
yeah.
stream. You better like the stream, you little naughties. I appreciate the
Yes.
support, and I'm sure you do too.
I really, really do. Yeah, it's all about community, like we said. Like
Mm,
we don't just have like the people that come on screen, right? We are not the community. It's like everybody that's gathered in the chat. They are the community, and we all come together. All of
right.
that.
Yep.
So yeah, I think so. Yeah, reminder to go and check out Ryan's channel too. And tomorrow I'm gonna be on the Damn Network, and I'm gonna put the link real quick. Let me see. I'm gonna put it in the chat. So we're gonna be talking about the Ten Commandments bills, right? That are oh, so annoyingly being passed
Put in
left
a
and right, and
freaking
all kinds
school.
of
Oh my
things.
gosh.
So
Something's wrong with these people.
right now is on in the Texas governor's desk. All right, so I just put the link to Chris Mallard's Damn Network show for tomorrow.
Yes,
Yeah, so we're gonna have that discussion about the Ten Commandments, our religion in
excited.
school, and like all of that stuff.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be on with you again. That should be a
Yeah,
great conversation.
back to back. You're gonna be sick of me.
Why? No, I won't. I'm excited that I got to like meet you a little bit, before that.
Yeah, beforehand.
So
No, it's good. It's good. I hope
yeah,
you'll enjoy yourself tomorrow. I'm
yeah,
excited to
I
have
do
you, and it's
too.
Friday, so
Oh yeah, I'm happy
thank
about
you.
that. I have a busy day after, but I'm still happy it's Friday because then Saturday we do fun stuff.
Good.
Anyways, so for people watching, if you're questioning your faith, if you're wrestling with your identity, you're feeling like you don't know who you are, or you know who you are, but you can't quite show it because you're
Mm,
scared, right? If you're trying to break away from like all of these high control cults, because let's face it, they're cults. You're
that's
not
right.
alone. And places like this is where you find your community. We have cookies. We like freedom. We like
I got
freedom, and
margaritas.
we uplift each other's margaritas. Whatever you like to drink, we don't judge. Okay,
That's right.
that's exactly it. We do it without judgment. A community without judgment, because you know we all have the right to be who we want to be, to choose who we want to love. And yeah, so whether you're just barely getting started or not, you can always come back here. And thank you guys for joining us tonight. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, do the thing,
Do
and
all
we'll
the
see you
things.
again Saturday and tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, can't wait. See you then, guys.
Yeah, thank you all for being here in the chat. We love you guys.
Bye.